Hey, you guys, it's Peter. And I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. I'm YouTube famous now. So I wanted to talk about something today that was like really on my mind. And it's about the workplace and supervisors. Y'all had a job? Y'all ever had any kind of job? You'll relate. Now, I used to work for this treatment facility, right? I worked there for 13 years. Loved it. Loved every bit of it. I'm not the kind of fool that can sit behind a computer all day long, typing in data and doing customer service calls. Love y'all that do that. Couldn't wait tables. I'd throw plates. I just don't have that kind of patience. I just don't. But put me in a crazy, chaotic environment, I do just fine. I'm real good, just calming shit down, playing that role, right? So it was perfect for me. Plus, I got sober when I was 22, so I kind of knew the gig. But anyway, I worked for this treatment facility for 13 years, right? Okay, so when I was working for this treatment facility, I worked with like 99% women, which was fine by me. I love women, you know, I love women all day long. We would sit in there and we would sit in this like group room and eat our lunch every day, which was always like Einstein bagels or Subway. We were forever on a diet. I've been on a diet for 22 years. So anyway, we'd sit in there and we'd all like go and we'd get Subway, the 6 inches. I'd be like, this is so good. We even did like weight loss like groups where we would like play the Biggest Loser. It was foolish, all of us. None of us lose any weight. I remember this one time. Now listen, when I stepped on out of that treatment facility, those 99% of those women, all except for about one of them, did me dirty. So I don't have a problem talking about it today, okay? All of them did me dirty. Hey, I haven't heard from none of them except for one. Maybe two. So anyway, so when, we did this Biggest Loser, our team was going to win over the whole hospital. There was like 6 teams of fatties up in that place. I mean, that's all it was, just a bunch of people sitting on their ass eating all day long. So anyway, people are always bringing in cookies and donuts and all kinds of foolishness. So anyway, we were going to win this Biggest Loser thing. I think we might have lost 10 pounds between all 5 of us, you know, the 200 plussers. So anyway, guess what our coach was? Yeah, Skinny Minnie. She was going to coach us into some skinniness, a skinny thing. She's the only one I love to this day. Hey, girl. But anyway, so I worked for this facility, right? We were all of us a bunch of good Judies. We thought we had everybody's back. We were so good friends. I would sit in there and we'd eat these little, 6-inch Subways that make you so fucking hungry when you left there. You couldn't wait to roll through Burger King, get you a Whopper, double Whopper some days with onion rings and fries. So anyway, we'd sit in there and we'd talk and we'd just share stuff about our lives and all this kind of stuff. And these women would always say this, but my husband, he just won't shut up about wanting to have sex all the time. I never understood this because I was wanting to have sex all the time. So they'd be like, oh, he just wants to have sex. And then one of them would be like, well, I let my husband have sex last night. I gave it up to him. And I thought, girl, he's lucky you gave it up to him. Oh my God, you need to look around, baby. Anyway, but these girls, let me tell you what we would do. So we would sit around these clinical meetings, because I'm going to tell you how this all went down at the end. So we would sit around these clinical meetings, we would sit around these lunches, right, that were supposed to be informal. And we one time had this supervisor, this girl, she's a nurse. And, she's one of those nurses that had never, passed a med in her entire life or, ran blood or any of that kind of stuff. She came in pencil skirts, hair did with a bunch of, Aquanet. She was 6 foot tall. She thought she was the glamazon of the world. She wasn't. So anyway, she was rude as shit. I'll never forget, one time we were all in this meeting with her, and we were all complaining about how we didn't get paid enough, because we didn't, because it was just, you don't. When you work in that field, you just don't get paid enough. It's like teachers. Teachers don't fucking get paid enough. We were sitting in there, and I'll never forget, she looked at us, probably at the time making about $100,000 a year, not having to do anything but have meetings with monkeys all fucking day long. And she looked at us, and she goes, your paycheck is a thank you note at the end of 2 weeks. I looked at her and go, excuse me, I'm not getting thanked enough. She said, we'll have to have a conversation after the meeting. I thought, oh my Lord, what did I just get myself into? So anyway, she stayed there for about 3 years, went somewhere else and became the CEO or some madness like that. That's what always happens to those kind of people, You work your ass off, you pay your dues, you work a good 50 hours a week, and those kind of people just slide in and take over every position. You could try for every damn promotion ever in the business that you work in, and they'll always slide some fool in there that they knew at some other organization, and you get screwed. It's crap, right? So anyway, Oh, this was the other thing that was great about her. This one year, I will never forget this. She pushed, we were going to get bonuses that year. Well, now I have friends of mine that worked in factories, right? And they would get quarterly bonuses, and they would get quarterly bonuses of like $2,000 to $5,000. I was like, holy shit, I want a Christmas bonus like that. And they pumped and pumped and pumped this bonus thing, right? They were like, oh, and don't forget I worked for a non-for-profit organization. Like, people like to hide behind that. There's a lot of non-for-profit organizations that are making a lot of money. Don't let them fool you. It's the truth, okay? So anyway, but I thought I was doing some good out there in the world, and maybe I did, I don't know. So anyway, I'll never forget that we had to do all of this shit one year to get these bonuses by Christmas. And that meant that every patient that came in within 24 hours, we had to call their probation officer, call their parent, set up an individual session, get their medical records, get their school records. I mean, it was a lot of shit to do, okay, right? Because I worked with teenagers. It was a lot of shit. Let me tell you, our unit of counselors, we had 100% positive participation of getting our bonuses at the time the bonuses came around. I will never forget this till the day I die. So at Christmas, guess what they do? They line our asses up in front of the entire Christmas party, right? The board is there, and the board's like shaking our hand as we go along. I'm like, what the fuck? We must have got some $10,000 checks in here and something like that, right? I was real excited. Oh my God, my ex-boyfriend, he was gonna have the Christmas of his life, and we were going to the casino for days. I had already spent that fucking money, right? So the board's shaking our hands. Thank you so much for your hard work. Thank you so much for your hard work. And at the end, they hand us our checks, right? But they didn't want any of us to open our checks until we got back to the unit. Well, I should have known why. I should have known why, because if I had opened that damn check right now, I said, oh, hold on a second here, misters and misses. No, ma'am, this is not okay. I did not work this hard for this, right? $135 bonus. We all got fucked that Christmas is what we did. Santa Claus done come down that chimney and fucked us all. I was so pissed, right? And guess what our Christmas bonus was after that? That's the supervisor that we had in the pencil skirt, she left. So thank God that was the one Christmas bonus that we got out of that. She's a CEO of some, like, I don't know, home care nursing system now, probably making $1 million a year. Fuck her. Anyway, the reason I was thinking about all this today was because her picture posted up on Facebook and said, people you may know. And I thought to myself, I don't know her today, but I knew her and I don't need to know her now. So anyway, whew. Oh my love, I can get my blood boiling thinking about her back in that day, just standing down there. I mean, I have stories for days I could tell you, but that wouldn't be appropriate. So anyway, the shit that she put me through. So anyway, she would come and want to sit in group therapy sessions and not say a word and just sit there like this, like the principal in a schoolroom, make me nervous as shit. She didn't know nothing about counseling. She didn't know shit about addiction, none of it. So anyway, we would sit in these lunches, these Subway lunches, right? We're all sitting around, and these good Judies that I had been to every bachelorette party, every bridal shower, every baby shower. I had bought them fucking gifts. I had taken call for every one of their weddings and honeymoons and kids' birthdays. I had taken fucking call while they were gone for, 8 weeks, doubling up this stuff. Let me tell you what these good Judies would do to me, right? My good Judies in the work environment, right? They'd sit around. Now, you could tell I get myself real hyped up, right? I get real wired real quick. And they'd say things, and they'd say, well, we're now going to have to carry the pager an extra, week every month. I think that's unfair. And I'd be like, really? I didn't hear that. Oh, yeah. And then another one would say, can you believe that she's going to do that to us? And I'd be like, seriously? We have to take the pager I didn't care, baby. I was working 50, 60 hours a week anyway. It didn't matter to me if I was carrying a pager. I just got paid extra for it. So here they are setting me up like the fool I was. I should have known, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible, right? And they're like, yeah, what are we going to do about it? All of them, all 4 or 5 of them were sitting there. The same ones that were bitching about they either bitched about they couldn't get a boyfriend or a husband, or as soon as they got a husband or boyfriend, they'd be bitching about how their husbands and boyfriends constantly wanted to have sex. Well, all they wanted to do was sit on the fat asses and watch TV all day long and, I don't know, complain about their jobs to their husbands. Probably. They were just a bunch of miserable fools. So anyway, I stayed at that job 3 years too long. If you're in a job that you cannot stand, get out. Get out now. Don't be a stay around Sally. I'm telling you right now, get out, okay? Don't walk out of your job today. Y'all need your jobs, okay? Y'all gotta pay your bills. Y'all gotta have, baby formulas and mortgages. Listen, I went into a meeting one time. I will never forget this, okay? This is a sad statement of the world. Can I say this? Am I under contract? Oh, it's been 10 years. Fuck them. When I left that facility, I worked there 13 years. I was the highest paid counselor they had ever had at that facility. I left in 09. I'm gonna give you a second to guess what I made in 09 as the highest paid counselor that had ever worked in that facility after 13 years. Are you ready? $41,000, baby. That's pathetic, okay? With a master's degree. I had busted my fucking ass at that place. Stayed there way too long. That guy that just passed me by was smoking a joint. He needs treatment. Anyway, smoking a joint in his Mercedes SUV probably. Oh no, he's just chewing on some gum or something. I've always wanted to call a fool out for getting high. Anyway, you see? That's what working at a treatment facility does to you. Always catching kids smoking cigarettes in their bathroom and then spraying themselves with those body fragrances. There is nothing worse, okay, than somebody that has been smoking a cigarette in a closed, small-ass bathroom and then spraying themselves with some musk or apple body fragrance. It's the nastiest smell you will ever smell in your entire life. Trust me, okay? I've smelled dead bodies and they're not as bad. So anyway, so I had a meeting one time with my supervisor, the HR director, and somebody else, and I sat in that meeting, and I will never forget. I said, you know, I'm speaking for my whole group here. I don't think we get paid enough. I think, you know, there are other people in this facility, like the dietitian. She's been here a year. She's making 10 times more money than we are, and blah, blah, blah. Well, how do you know those things? Well, she told me. We're not supposed to have conversations about salary. Have y'all ever wondered why you're not supposed to fucking have the conversation about salary? I'll tell you why. Because as soon as you do, you'll find out that a bunch of fuckery's going on, and these people all over the place that you're working in are making 10 times more money than you are. They're hiring in at higher than you are, and they don't want you to know because they're keeping you low there, overworked and underpaid. Quit that damn job if that's what you're doing. It's bullshit. That's why they don't want you to have that conversation. There is no other reason why we shouldn't have a conversation about our salaries in the workplace. That's some bullshit right there. I have never got behind that, and I don't care. If somebody asks me how much I make, I'll tell them all day long. I was making $41,000, and it was bullshit, and I had to fight for every raise I had in that organization. So let me tell you, 13-year employee, right? I busted my ass. Well, this was probably about 11 years at that time. Busted my ass. I started there as a tech. I paid my dues. I was in undergraduate school, and I started there and just gotten sober 6 months a year before. Busted my ass. I had a urine drug screen thrown in my face at one time. I mean, I had done stuff that some of these people, they had never done. I had walked all over fucking parks with these kids in the summer doing recreational activities. I had done so much shit with these kids, right? So let me just tell you how important I was to this organization. I said, you know, I think that I need to get paid more, and I think all these other people need to get paid more too. I will never forget that. And this HR director looks at me and she says, I think she still works there by the day, okay? Not my favorite person in the entire world. One of the rudest people, actually, I've ever met in my entire life. Saw her at the grocery store parking lot the winter after I left, and she looked right at me and walked on by. Now, I had talked to this woman every day for 13 years. This shit, I did not think I was going to get this riled up. She walked right by me. I said, are you seriously not going to walk right by me and not say hi? She goes, oh, I didn't see you. I go, oh, yes, you did, girl. You looked right at me. I said, hey, how are you doing? Rude. People like that. I cannot stand people like that. Bunch of fake and phonies. I cannot get behind that at all. So anyway, I'm sitting in this meeting and I said, yeah, I don't think I get paid enough. And hey, let me talk about my sisters too. I don't think they get paid enough either, right? And this HR director looks at me and she goes, do you know how much other organizations pay? I said, sure do. I looked them up. This one, I called there, got a friend that works there. They hire in at 60. Another friend of mine, they hire in at 38. But I've been here 13 years, I'm making 41. I went through the whole rate. She goes, well, we're non-for-profit. I said, they're all non-for-profit organizations. You just don't want to give us some money because you're paying your CEO that's been here a year too much. You can't keep CEOs in here. Because, of course, see, like, I can't shut my mouth, right? If I shut my mouth and be a good boy, I probably would have got paid more. She looks at me and she goes like this. She goes, well, if you're not happy, you can leave. And I thought, are you fucking kidding me? What are you supposed to say to that? I need my job. I need to pay my mortgage. I need to pay my phone bill so I can call my good Judies at night and complain about my fucking job, okay? I need to be able to go to the casino because it's the only place I can let off steam. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm in 12-step meetings all the time trying to keep my fucking sanity over this job at the time, losing my shit, right? So, fuck them. I walk out. Yes, thank you. Never got that raise. So anyway, you know, I was sitting in these groups, right? Or these lunches with these gals that wanted to complain about their husbands, complain about their lives, all of it, right? So I'd sit up in there, and they would get me all fucking heated about something like a pager. We're going to take a pager another week, right? Or, oh, this was a good one. Did you hear that we're now going to have to take a holiday? We're each of us going to have to work. Oh, no, we're going to have to work a holiday? I always got like Easter. Who'd care about Easter, right? You're done. You're out of there by 4 anyway. My aunt and all my family, all of them hung over anyway. They couldn't have lunch till 4 or 5 anyway. I'd never missed a damn thing. It wasn't like we were doing Easter egg hunts. So anyway, Then we would get in the clinical meeting room, right? And at the end of the clinical meeting, I'd be sitting there like a good boy the whole time, right? I'd sit there and I'd say, my supervisor would be like, is there anything else that we need to talk about? Nobody would say a damn thing. I'd look around that room like, these girls have been bitching for weeks about this stuff, right? So I'd sit there for a couple minutes. I got something to say. That's truly how it was, too. They'd all look at me, and then we'd, of course, have 5 new people that had just started in the last year that were terrified of my ass. Why, I'll never know. And my supervisor would say, yeah, do you have any complaints? I'd say, yeah, what's this about this new pager that we have to take? We were talking the other day, and she'd say, who's we? And I would look around at everybody, they'd be like... they were not part of the conversation. Now, I was speaking for the masses, and the masses weren't behind me, okay? Imagine that, getting an army behind you and getting fucked when you get to the war. Can you imagine? So I would go off and I'd say, okay, fine. These good girls, they don't want to talk about it. I understand. I'm thinking in my head, they're afraid. They're afraid to, you know, blah, 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 whatever. So I'd say this stuff. Then you know what those bitches would do to my supervisor? They would go behind my back and they would go tell him, and this is what they would say. Peter's raging in clinical meetings. Peter scares me. He gets so angry in clinical meetings. He's so passionate about this stuff. He gets so mad. Passionate about this. Passion's a good thing, not a bad thing, okay? If I'm passionate about something, you better be glad I'm passionate about it. When I stop caring about it, that means I don't give a shit about you no more, okay? And that's what happened is I started shutting my mouth. You know why? Because I got written up for raging in clinical meetings. Who gets that? Who gets written up as a counselor for raging in clinical meetings? I had to take a look at that shit when I got out. When I stopped working there with my sponsor, he said, yeah, I think we might want to look at this a little bit. So I did, and I'm not that person today except for when I do my rant videos. But let me just tell you something right now. If you're working in an organization and there's a bunch of fuckery going on and they ain't giving you no tips, or they ain't giving you no tips, that too, those servers that aren't getting their tips, that too, you aren't getting any raises and your good Judy's ain't got your back, trust me, let me tell you something, those good Judy's ain't gonna call you when you quit, okay? You're not as good of friends as you think you are. You're just friends because you work together. It's a bunch of bullshit. I ain't heard from none of those people, except for one time I put up one video on Facebook and one of them called me and said something. Girl, I ain't heard from her since then, okay? We ain't friends. I set up one of them's Match.com account. I entered all the information so she could get a boyfriend. She got a boyfriend, got married. Guess who didn't get invited to the wedding? Yes, this one right here. I wanted to send her a Facebook message and say, baby, you wouldn't even be getting married if it wasn't for me. He's basically marrying me because I made up your Match.com account. Bunch of fuckery. Can't get behind it. Woo! So glad I quit that job. Love you guys. Bye.